There's a quiet power that comes with age, a kind of knowing that doesn't shout but whispers with certainty. And yet, as the years pass, there are moments when that power feels harder to hold on to. We walk through seasons of change, some subtle, some seismic, and in the process, something strange happens. We begin to feel invisible, not because we are less, but because the world forgets to look. It forgets to see the softness of a woman who has raised children, lost loved ones, rebuilt herself after grief. It overlooks the quiet beauty of a face that has smiled through pain and chosen joy anyway. And sometimes we too forget to look inward and recognize our own worth. Maybe that's why something as simple as a haircut can feel so emotional. It's not vanity, it's a reclaiming. When you sit in that salon chair, you're not just trimming ends, you're asking to be seen again. You're asking to feel vibrant, lifted awake to your own beauty. You want to look like you feel on your best days, strong, graceful, radiant, not in spite of your years, but because of them. And for many women, the bob haircut has been that style. It's timeless. It's classic. It says, I know who I am without having to say much at all. But here's the thing. No one tells you not all bobs are created equal. Some versions lift you up, others unintentionally drag you down. And the difference isn't always obvious. It's not in the inches, it's in the angles, the layering, the intention behind the cut. It's in whether the style honors the natural changes of your face, your hair texture, your bone structure, or ignores them entirely. I've spoken with so many women, some in their 60s, others in their 70s, and beyond, who've said the same thing. I thought a bob would make me look younger, but I feel older every time I look in the mirror. And it breaks my heart, not because they look bad, but because they feel unseen in their own reflection. That's not what beauty is supposed to do. Beauty should reflect back the truth of who you are, not erase it. So today I want to walk you through something deeper than hair. Yes, we'll talk about common bob haircut mistakes that can age you. But more than that, we'll talk about how to reclaim your reflection, how to choose a cut that moves with you, flatters your features, and feels like it belongs to this version of you, the one who has lived, loved, lost, grown, and still has so much more to give. This isn't about rules, it's about awareness. It's about learning how small changes, a softened angle, a lifted layer, can create a ripple effect in how you feel every day. Because when a woman sees herself clearly, she stands taller. She smiles softer. She moves through the world not asking for permission, but giving herself full approval. And that starts here, with this conversation, with your next haircut, with the decision to say, I want a style that meets me where I am not where I used to be. So if you've ever wondered why your bob feels off, or if you're simply looking to feel more like yourself when you catch your reflection, stay with me. What we're about to explore isn't just about fixing mistakes. It's about rediscovering the beauty that was never lost, only hidden. It often begins with the best of intentions. You walk into the salon asking for something classic, easy to manage, something that doesn't scream for attention, but still feels polished. And the stylist, well-meaning, perhaps in a rush, or simply working from habit, gives you the most common version, a one-length bob. It seems like a safe bet. No layers, no drama, just a clean line around the chin or jaw. But the moment you leave the chair, something feels heavy, and not just in your hair. You might not know exactly what's wrong, but you notice the way your reflection feels unfamiliar. The fullness you hoped for at the crown isn't there. Instead, the haircut falls flat, framing your face in a way that feels square or weighed down. With every glance in the mirror, it subtly drags your features downward, almost echoing gravity itself. And though you don't want to admit it, it adds years, not just in appearance, but in energy. You don't feel vibrant. You feel dulled, muted, disconnected from the spark you carry inside. The truth is, a blunt, one-length cut rarely serves women as they grow older. Our faces change, our hair changes, and when the haircut doesn't shift to accommodate those changes, the harmony between who we are and how we look begins to fray. A style that once looked sleek now looks stiff. A line that once felt bold now feels boxy. Instead of movement, there is a stillness that borders on lifeless. Instead of lift, there is a weight that no product or blow-dry seems to fix. But here's the beauty in all this. It's not a dead end. It's simply a misdirection. And the way back to yourself doesn't require anything drastic. In fact, the most powerful shifts are often subtle, softer edges, hidden layers, gentle bevels that hug your features instead of fighting them. Internal layering, for instance, removes bulk from within, allowing your hair to flow and move like it used to. Light texturizing gives dimension where there was once density. A bevel at the ends can cradle your cheekbones instead of boxing them in. These are not radical overhauls, they are loving adjustments. They say, I see you not just as you were, but as you are. And perhaps even more importantly, they remind you that the haircut should serve you, not the other way around. You don't need to adapt yourself to a style that was never designed for your current stage of life. Instead, your style should adapt to you. Because beauty after 60 isn't about chasing youth, it's about honoring presence. And presence has texture. It has softness. It moves with you. So if you've ever felt like your bob was pulling you backward instead of lifting you forward, know that it's not your fault. And it's not too late. The right stylist, the right tweaks, the right awareness. These things can bring you home to yourself in ways you didn't know you were missing. Not because hair is everything, but because how we see ourselves in the mirror shapes how we show up in the world. And you deserve to show up fully, freely, and in alignment with the woman you've become. And sometimes in an effort to feel fresh, bold, or different, we take a turn towards something trendier. A cut that was once all the rage, sharp in contrast, daring in silhouette. The reverse bob, where the back is long, sweeping down the nape and the front draws sharply upward, framing the face in a forward angle. It promises edge character, even youth. But all too often, what it delivers is the opposite. The problem isn't that it's daring, it's that it directs everything downward. The eye follows the slope not toward your cheekbones or your smile, but toward your collarbone, your chest, your feet. And when the goal is to lift, elongate, or open the face, a downward drag becomes a quiet betrayal. Especially when our posture has already changed with age. When our neck begins to soften or our shoulders round. This style has no mercy for that softness. Instead, it highlights it, amplifies it, exposes it in ways that feel unkind. It also creates imbalance. The shape no longer flows with the natural roundness of the head or the grace of the neckline. Instead, it fights it, pulling attention away from your face and toward a shape that feels off. Not bad, not ugly, just disconnected. And sometimes that disconnection grows louder the longer the hair grows, requiring constant trims, reshaping effort, until what was meant to feel easy becomes yet another burden to manage. But again, the solution is gentle. We don't need to abandon structure. We simply need to soften its expression. Instead of allowing the cut to slope back and down, we guide it forward and up. We let the length flow from just behind the ear, not from the base of the neck. That small shift reclaims harmony. It gives your profile lift, not weight. It defines your jaw without suffocating it. It says, "This face matters and means it." And more than that, it gives you ease. Because a haircut that works with your bone structure doesn't need constant correction. It ages with you gracefully. It doesn't trap you in a cycle of touch-ups or chasing lines. It grows with you, not away from you. Maybe that's the most important part, that your hair, like your life, should be allowed to unfold, to move, to flow, not be forced into shapes that once worked but no longer do. Not be sculpted to impress others, but crafted to express yourself, especially now, especially here. There's a kind of haircut that seems to whisper confidence. A bold angle, a sharp line, something that feels powerful, almost architectural. It's often chosen with the hope of modernity, of standing out, of making a statement that says, "I still have edge." And for some, it works. For a moment. The sharply angled bob, with its dramatic descent from a shorter back to a longer front, seems to promise elegance and lift. But when that angle becomes too steep, when the front drops far below the chin, and the back hugs too tightly to the head, something unexpected happens. The balance breaks. What was meant to lengthen the face, instead, drags it downward. The disconnection between the front and the back becomes visible, too visible. It no longer flows like a river. It cuts like a cliff. Instead of embracing the contours of your face, it frames it in severity. And that harshness, it doesn't soften with time. It doesn't adapt to your mood or your movement. It stays rigid, demanding. Many women don't even realize why it stops feeling right. They just know something's off. Their jaw feels sharper, their cheeks more prominent, but not in a flattering way. There's heaviness where they hoped for lightness. Attention goes straight to the lower half of their face, exactly where time already tends to draw the eye. And then there's the upkeep. With every passing week, the line loses its precision. The dramatic angle, once striking, becomes uneven. Instead of a clean shape, you're left with an awkward silhouette that demands more trims, more time, more effort. A cut that once felt empowering starts to feel like another obligation. But the answer isn't to avoid angles altogether. It's to embrace them, gently. Soft angles. Controlled slopes that begin just behind the ear. Length that enhances rather than overpowers. Layers that whisper instead of shout. When done with intention, a slight angle can bring lift to the face. It can lengthen the neck, highlight the cheekbones, and soften the jawline. It can flow with the natural fall of your hair instead of forcing it into something artificial. It can offer movement, dimension, and grace. Most importantly, it can feel like you, because that's what this season of life is asking for. Not sharpness for the sake of style, but shape that celebrates your strength, your softness, your story. A haircut that doesn't demand attention, but quietly commands it. You don't need drama to feel radiant. You need harmony. And sometimes that starts with a pair of scissors and a stylist who truly sees you. It often starts with a vision of elegance. The idea that if you lift the back just enough, it'll create this graceful silhouette, elongate your neck, give your entire look a structured polish. It's a style that seems like it should work in theory. A high nape bob, sleek, fashionable, modern. But for many women in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, the reality doesn't quite match the dream. When the back of a bob is cut too high, especially above the natural curvature of the head, it severs the flow of the haircut. It divides the style into two competing halves. a cropped, almost rigid shape at the back, and a longer, heavier front that feels disconnected. The silhouette loses its unity. Instead of a gentle arc that hugs the shape of your head, you're left with a shelf, sharp and boxy. And this harsh transition doesn't just alter the back view. It influences how everything feels from the side, from the front, from the mirror. The neck, instead of appearing longer, can look crowded, compressed. The cutoff point draws the eye to the very place you might want to soften. The front sections, in contrast, feel too dense. They press downward, amplifying fullness in the jawline, cheeks, or under the chin, areas that many women naturally grow more conscious of with age. What begins as a style, meant to slim or lift, ends up doing the opposite. The balance is broken. The movement is lost. And it's not your fault. This haircut is often suggested with good intentions, inspired by stacked bobs on younger women with sharp jawlines and long necks. But our features change with time, and our styles should change with them. Instead of cutting high, think lower. Instead of sharp stacks, think soft graduation. When the nape is allowed to fall naturally just below the occipital bone, it creates a rounded shape that flatters rather than divides. The transition from back to front becomes fluid, not abrupt. Layers can still exist, but they're woven gently, not forced. Imagine the feeling of your hair moving in harmony with your posture, of the back subtly lifting without screaming for attention, of the front falling forward just enough to frame the face without dominating it, of the neckline feeling elongated not by subtraction but by suggestion. That's the power of a lower nape and graceful structure. Because beauty after 50 isn't about recreating the cuts of youth. It's about reimagining them shaped for the woman you are today, not the girl you used to be. It's about honoring your evolution, not hiding it. And a haircut that flows unified, soft, elegant is one of the quietest yet most powerful ways to do just that. It seems harmless at first, a simple request at the salon. Let's just layer the back a little but keep the front untouched. It sounds conservative, safe, even flattering. But here's the hidden cost of that choice. When the back of your bob is airy and layered, and the front is left completely solid, without even the gentlest touch of layering, you create an imbalance. The kind that doesn't announce itself loudly, but slowly weighs down your entire look. The hair from the back naturally moves forward as you walk, as you tilt your head as the wind catches it. And if the front has no movement of its own, no softness to receive that energy, then all that weight gathers along your jawline and cheeks. It sits there, dense, still, heavy. And where does the eye go? Straight to that curtain of hair resting on your lower face, on your softening jawline, on the subtle fullness around the chin, on the places you may wish to lift, not spotlight. Suddenly, what started as a balanced bob feels like two separate ideas stitched together, lightness in the back, burden in the front. And it doesn't stop there. That front bulk continues to grow as the weeks pass. The back, delicately layered, loses volume with time, but the front, it stays, builds, until one day you look in the mirror and feel like your hairstyle is dragging you down, not lifting you up. Many stylists mean well. They fear over-thinning your front layers, especially if your hair is fine. But layering doesn't have to mean removing volume. It means shaping it, directing it, giving it movement, giving it purpose. A softly layered front, even if subtle, opens your face. It catches light. It dances as you speak, as you smile, as you turn your head to greet someone you love. It tells a story not of weight, but of warmth, not of age, but of presence. Let the layers begin gently at the cheekbone, perhaps. Let them follow the natural curves of your face. Let them whisper, not shout. When paired with the movement at the back, they create a harmony, a haircut that feels whole, that frames your face instead of hiding it. That invites the world in rather than shielding it away, because your face holds your stories, your joys, your resilience, and it deserves to be seen, framed, not hidden. And the beauty of it all, these layers grow with you. They adapt, they move, they soften. They don't box you in. They give you space to breathe, to glow, to evolve. So next time you sit in that salon chair, remember this. It's not just about keeping the front long. It's about letting it live. Let's move smoothly into the final insight, a detail so minor it's often overlooked, yet its impact on your entire look can be quietly but profoundly aging. It's not a drastic cut or a harsh line. It's a habit, a styling quirk, the instinct to curl the ends of your bob too tightly under. It often begins with good intentions. Maybe you're reaching for that round brush or curling iron because you want bounce, volume, a touch of polish before heading out the door. You twist, you set, and suddenly the ends flip sharply under like a smile that's trying too hard. But here's what really happens. When you over-curl the ends of a bob, you create a boxy, rigid silhouette that pushes your hairstyle into the past. The curl forms a visual shelf that draws this eye downward toward the jaw, toward the neck, toward the places that may carry the softness of age. The curve is too tight, too forced. It says control when what we crave is ease. Instead of lifting your look, that heavy curl weighs it down. It can even exaggerate the width of your face, giving you a squared-off frame that feels more severe than elegant. It's a styling trick that once signaled sophistication, but today, it often just reads as dated. The fix isn't to stop curling altogether. It's to rethink what curling means. Curling should add movement, not sharpness. It should lift, not anchor. So start your wave at the mid-shaft of your hair, not the ends. Use a large barrel iron or a round brush with a soft hand. Let the ends fall naturally, with just a hint of bend like a breeze touched them and left a memory behind. This approach creates a graceful silhouette. It allows your bob to flow, not freeze. It keeps the eye traveling upward toward your eyes, your smile the glow of your skin, not downward to the edges of your hair. And when you stand in front of the mirror, running your fingers through those soft, effortless curves, you'll see something subtle, yet powerful, has changed. You haven't just styled your hair. You've lightened your presence. You've made space for softness, for grace, for the kind of beauty that doesn't ask to be noticed but is. Because the best kind of beauty at this stage in life isn't forced or sculpted. It's felt. It moves. It knows who it is. And your bob? It should reflect that. So, here we are. After all the techniques and adjustments, all the little changes that make a big difference, what remains isn't just a better haircut. It's a better reflection of who you truly are becoming. A bob in the end is more than a style. It's a statement, not of fashion, but of readiness, of reclaiming your space in the mirror, of saying, I still matter. I still choose how I show up. And maybe today you don't need a complete transformation. Maybe you just needed permission. Permission to let go of what no longer flatters you, to embrace lightness, movement, softness, to choose shapes that echo your grace, not hide it. To understand that beauty after 60 isn't about recapturing what once was, it's about honoring what is. Your face has earned its softness. Your eyes, their knowing. Your jawline, its stories. And your haircut, it should frame all of that, not fight it. You don't need to chase youth. You need to wear wisdom beautifully. So if you've ever stood in front of the mirror and thought something's off but I can't name it, maybe now you can. Maybe it was the angle, the weight, the lack of lift. And now maybe you feel a little more equipped to ask for what you deserve in that salon chair. More than that, you might feel a little more ready to take up space, to sit taller, to lift your chin. Not because your bob is perfect, but because you are learning to align the outside with the woman you've become inside. Because at this age, confidence doesn't shout. It whispers. It flows from your shoulders. It dances in your smile. It's in the quiet certainty of knowing you've made peace with yourself, and now you simply want the world to catch up. So wear your bob your way, soft-shaped, effortless. Let it reflect your calm, your clarity, your radiance. And let every strand remind you that it is never too late to feel beautiful again. And if no one has said this to you in a while, let me say it now. You are not past your prime. You are the prime. The most nuanced, powerful, tender version of yourself you've ever been. And that deserves a beautiful frame. And if this message touched something quiet inside you, if it reminded you of your own beauty or gave you permission to soften, to choose again, then I invite you to stay connected. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Subscribe to this space if it feels like home. Like this video if it made you feel seen. Share it with another woman who might be ready to embrace her reflection with fresh eyes. And leave a comment, your story, your thoughts, your voice. Because every time you speak your truth, you give another woman permission to do the same. This isn't just about hair, it's about becoming, and I'm so glad you're here.